Hello and welcome to this EFT demonstration video. Today we're going to show you how you can use the EFT REST API to create users in EFT. We're going to demonstrate how to enable the REST API in EFT, how to create an admin account with REST API access, where to get sample code from our online documentation, and finally, how to use that sample code in Visual Studio Code to create a user using the EFT REST API. To be able to create users using the REST API in EFT, we first need to go to the EFT and enable the REST API. To do this, log into the EFT admin GUI, go to the Administration tab, make sure the Allow Remote Administration button is checked, and then check the Enable REST API/WebAdmin. Note the default port is 4450. Then also check the Require SSL for remote administration. If you have not already configured an SSL certificate to use for this, you can do that at this time as well. Next, you want to create a local admin account and give it Programmatic API Policy Server full access control. Once you create the account, make sure to make note of the credentials. You're going to use these later, then hit apply and save the changes to EFT. Once you've enabled the REST API and created an admin credential with the appropriate access, you can now use the REST API to do various administrative functions in EFT. This can be done with multiple tools such as PowerShell, Postman, or other scripting tools. The tool we're going to use to demonstrate and test the REST API is Visual Studio Code. It's free and it's built on open source. You can Google search for it and then download it and install it. Once it's installed, you can go to the Globalscape help documentation, look under the REST API section, and download a REST API example zip file. This file contains some examples along with a folder called Visual Studio Code with REST API plugin. This folder can be loaded into Visual Studio to interact with the REST API. Once you've downloaded the zip file, extract the contents, and then open Visual Studio Code and open the folder containing the API plugins. Now you can use Visual Studio Code to interact with the REST API. For this demonstration, we're going to use it to add a new user to EFT. To do that, make sure you have the credentials you created in the previous step, and then find the post-create-user.http in the Explorer section in Visual Studio. You want to set the host address, the admin user, and the credential in the code snippet itself. Once you've done that, you can then go down to where it says Send Request, and you can hit the Send Request button under the Login section. This will log into EFT and will receive an authentication token from EFT to use with Visual Studio for that session. Next, we want to go to the section with the site ID and get the site ID for the site we want to add the user to. We can do this by clicking Go on the Send Request under the site ID, and then we can scroll down and find the site ID that we want to use. Once we have the site ID for that site, we want to work with it and copy it to your buffer, and then go down to the section where we're going to create new user and replace the site ID on that particular line with the site ID that you have in your buffer. Now you can change the login name and the password value in the template to the username and password you want to add to the site and hit Send Request. This will then add the user to EFT. You can then go into EFT admin GUI and see the user has now been added to the EFT. This concludes our demonstration. In this video, we showed you how you can add or how you can use the EFT REST API to create users in EFT. We demonstrated how to enable REST API in EFT, how to create an admin account with API access, where to get sample code from our online documentation, and finally, how to use that sample code in Visual Studio Code to create a user in EFT using the REST API. We hope you find this video demonstration helpful, And if you have any questions or need any additional assistance, please contact your sales team. Thank you.